is how many pages I have dog-eared to return to. And I think your memoir is about 300 pages, and I'd say about half of them have little dog ears on them.
I couldn't be happier.
And maybe that's a good way to segue. You have someone there keeping you company, right, in your lap?
Oh, you know what? She just jumped down. Shayna. Okay. Whoops. She's coming over again.
Okay.
She'll get back over
All
here.
right. It's not a stunt dog. This is a real dog, folks.
No, this is real. Come here, Shayna. Shayna. Excuse me.
Okay.
Oh, there she is.
There she is.
My girl.
Hi,
My
Shayna.
Hey,
Hey,
Shayna.
cutie. She wants nothing to do with
She's
this.
playing with Andy right now. Andy Dembski, who was the co-writer of this book
And did a great job.
and did a great
Did
job.
a great job. Um, did you know when you were writing this book how compelling it would be for someone like me, the general public? I mean,
I had no idea. It started when Andy and I were involved with a ballet company, and we were doing the Nutcracker. I played mother and he played father, and his two children were involved in it. And we spent a lot of off time out in the entry hall, sitting on the floor and talking while they were in rehearsal. So I guess I told him a few stories that piqued his interest, and he said one day, you should write a book. I went, me write a book? Who would want to know about my life? He said, well, you'd be surprised. So I thought about it and said, definitely not. And then I went on tour with Allison Arngrim, who you might know as Nellie on Little House on the Prairie. Allison wrote a book called Memoirs of a Prairie Bitch. And it was hysterical. It was really good. And I was on tour with her for the Little House on the Prairie events, and I saw these books flying off the table. I thought, maybe somebody is interested in Little House on the Prairie. So actually, that's how we started, was talking about, my early life and then getting to be, Miss Beadle on Little House on the Prairie. But then it kind of grew. And I guess the more stories I told about my life, Andy kind of pulled and tugged and, got these stories out of me. And I trusted him. And he would write them down, and the next week we would meet, and he would show me what he had written. And I thought, wow, that sounds like me. He had this ability to take the stories that I told him and write them in my voice. So they are my stories, but he just made them better. He made them into a book. What can I say?
yeah, and I mentioned before we started the interview to Andy that I just thought it was really well done, and he did a really good job, I think. And this is the first time we've spoken, but I felt like you were reading the book to me, which is really the measure of when these books succeed, I think.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Were you surprised at how much you remembered and how much you had done once you saw it all in print?
Well, I'll tell you, I had help because from the time I started in showbiz, I'll say, from about 19 when I got my first job on the Loretta Young show. You're way too young to remember that.
No,
But
I'm not.
I kept date books. I kept not a diary. I wasn't writing thoughts. I was writing appointments and bookings and every commercial I ever did and every TV show I ever did. So I had exact dates of everything, including dates I went on, people I met, going for drinks with John Voight or going to, something or other. I had it all down. So I had a huge box of date books. So I was able to just hand them over to Andy, and he started saying, well, what about, do you did, 72 commercials, or you did, and some of them I didn't remember at all, but, I worked a lot.
Yeah. Well, since you mentioned John Voight, let's go to that. I was going to ask you about John Voight
Oh,
later. So what's funny to me is not that you had a drink with John Voight; it's that it became John Voight and Mike Connors of Mannix in the same night. Do you mind talking about that a little
do you
bit?
mind if I just read it out, out of my book?
If you like, sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I need to put on my glasses
of
because
course.
I'm old.
No.
Okay. It starts around page 65, and I'm going to skip a little bit because some of this isn't relevant. But can you see me okay?
You're great. Just go right ahead.
I landed a role back at Desilu on the crime drama Manic.